Kraft presents The Great Gildersleeve. The Kraft Cheese Company will also bring you the Kraft Music Hall every Thursday night. Present each week at this time Harold Perry as The Great Gildersleeve, written by John Whedon and Sam Moore. We'll hear from the Great Gildersleeve in just a moment. What comes to mind when someone mentions a food you haven't tried? Well, I found that most folks want to know right off quick, how good does it taste? We all eat the foods we like. And there are many fine foods you like a whole lot better when they're spread with delicious parquet margarine. That goes for bread, rolls, muffins, pancakes, and waffles, for a wide variety of your favorite foods, because parquet adds flavor that really satisfies. Like all the other fine foods made by Kraft, parquet is top quality, has a flavor that's fresh and sweet, a flavor that's both delicate and appetizing. And as for good nutrition, just listen to this. Parquet margarine is one of the best energy foods you can serve every day of the year, and each pound of parquet contains 9,000 units of important vitamin A. So for good nutrition and for delicious flavor that really satisfies, buy and serve Parquet. That's P-A-R-K-A-Y, Parquet margarine, made by Kraft. Now, what about our friend the Great Gildersleeve? Well, he's been working so hard at one thing and another that he's awarded himself a day off, which he begins, as usual, with a substantial breakfast, nourishing his mind at the same time by perusing the Summerfield Indicator.
Not going to the office today, Uncle Mort?
No, Marjorie. I've got all my bills out. Everything's in apple pie order, so I'm taking a day off. Thought I might wind up the golf season. It's such a nice day.
That's a good idea. Can I see the paper, Uncle Mort?
Oh, yes. Here you are.
Mr. Gildersleeve, did I hear you say you're going to take the day off, or is my eavesdropper out of order?
Well, it's working all right. I'd considered it, Bertie.
Well, as long as you ain't got nothing else to do today, you mind taking down the screen?
Screens? I don't feel very well, Bertie.
I thought you felt like playing golf.
Well, that's different. Besides, I wasn't going to try very hard, just knock the old pill around the course.
It's only about 5 miles.
You're much too alert this morning, my dear. I just don't feel well enough to take down the screens. I've been feeling a little run down lately.
You don't look run down, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Well, you can't tell by appearances, Bertie.
Here's something that might build you up. Schultz's Market has a special today on pot roast.
Pot roast? Oh, we haven't had any pot roast in years.
Well, here it is, 45 cents a pound.
I'll go right down and get one before they're all gone.
Mr. Gildersleeve, ain't you going to have the strength to take down them screens first?
Bertie, if I don't get there fast, no pot roast. And if I don't get the pot roast, no strength. Besides, I need a haircut.
My, last week it was too cold, and the week before it was too hot. This week it's a haircut.
Yeah, but Bertie, look at my hair. I look like a violinist. I really ought to get started right away.
Hiya. Say, what's come over Mrs. Ransom all of a sudden?
I've asked you not to slam the door, Leroy. And what are you talking about?
Why, she hasn't been over here at all since the Halloween party, Unc. Did, something go sour?
I'd rather not discuss it. What happened, my boy?
Well, gosh, I was out in the yard just now practicing drop kicking, and she called me over and gave me a piece of cake.
Oh, she did, eh? Well, if you want the cow, go after the calf.
I didn't even want the cake so soon after breakfast, but I was polite and I ate it. She asked me how you were.
She'll be giving you ice cream before you know it.
What is all this anyhow, Unc?
She's trying to get back in my good book, that's all. Well, I better get on downtown.
Say, Unc.
What is it, my boy?
Can I go to the movies?
Certainly, my boy.
Huh?
Here's 50 cents. Why not take some little friend with you?
What a character.
Well, that's, call it 2 pounds even. That's, 18 points and 86 cents. Wrap it up.
Are you sure it's nice?
Madam, I'll guarantee you'll enjoy it.
Well, if you're sure it's nice.
Absolutely. If it's not, you'll come back and tell me about it.
18 points, you said.
And 86 cents.
Oh, I keep forgetting the money.
Don't they all? Well, now, who's next here? Oh, you, Mr. Gildersleeve?
By George, I should think you'd go crazy waiting on these women.
Well, you can't hurry them.
How have you been, Mr. Schultz?
Fine and dandy. What can I do for you this morning?
How's Mrs. Schultz?
Oh, she's fine. What can I do for you?
And your mama, how's she?
Coming along. I took her home a nice cut of top round last night, and we played a little pinochle after. I think she's going to be all right.
Great.
What'll you have, Mr. Gildersleeve?
Well, I wonder if you could let me have a pot roast. I'd like a real nice one.
Harry, we got any of those pot roasts left? Take a look while you're in there, will you?
But you advertised a special on them.
I know. Harry's going to take a look.
Real nice one, tell Harry.
I beg your pardon. Could somebody wait on me, please? I'd like a nice pot roast. I'm having guests.
I have to ask you to wait a minute, Mrs. Ransom. There's several ahead of you.
Oh, Leela. I didn't see you here.
Oh.
I've forgiven you for what happened at the Halloween party.
Forgiven me?
Yeah, come on, Leela. Let's let bygones be bygones.
Mr. Schultz, will it be very long?
Oh, here, take my place, Leela. I'm in no rush.
I am quite capable of waiting my turn in line, thank you. I'll be in the grocery department, Mr. Schultz.
Well, come in for a pot roast and you get a cold shoulder, eh?
Teach me to be so forgiving.
Thanks, Harry. There you are, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Is it real nice?
I'll guarantee you'll enjoy it. 6.5 pounds. That'll be $3.12 and 65 points.
That's a lot of points. You sure it's nice?
Well, I'm not personally acquainted with the steer it came off of, but it's the last one we got. And if you don't want it, Mrs. Ransom there was looking for
I'll
it.
take it.
Of course, if you'd rather have something else.
I'll take it. And I guarantee you I'll enjoy it.
Morning, Mr. Gildersleeve. Been expecting you in here for several days.
Yes, I'm a little overdue, Floyd. Say, have you got an ice box I can put this package in?
Ice box? Now, what would a barber shop be doing with an ice box?
Oh, well, I thought to make cold towels with and so on.
Oh, that's just cold water. What's in the package?
A pot roast, Floyd.
That big thing is all pot roast?
6.5 pounds, 65 points. It's a thing of beauty.
Well.
Who's under the towel?
That's Judge Hooker.
Oh, if I'd known it was Hooker, I never would have mentioned the pot roast. He's the dropping-in kind, you know.
Don't worry, Gildersleeve. I won't be dropping in tonight.
Don't be dropping in tomorrow, either. I'm hoping to enjoy this pot roast for a whole week.
All right. Have you got things squared with your lady friend yet, Gildy?
That's none of your business.
Yes. I just wondered if you and Leela had been playing sardines since Halloween.
Never mind.
Ever play sardines, Floyd?
I don't know what you're talking about, Judge.
Well, it's a kissing game, and you play it with the lights out. But if you get the wrong girl, it's terrible, isn't it, Gildy?
Hooker, will you kindly refrain from addressing any further remarks to me, or shall I come back for my haircut some other time?
Well, Floyd needs the business, and you need the haircut. Let's have the cold towel, Floyd.
Okay, Judge. Be with you in just a minute, Mr. Gildersleeve.
All right. Where can I put the pot roast for now, Floyd?
Well, if it was mine, I'd step across the street and put it in a safe deposit box. I haven't seen a pot roast since my cousin Earl was drafted. He was a butcher.
Yeah, I remember Earl. He had a 4-ounce thumb.
Say, where'd you get that pot roast, Mr. Gildersleeve?
Old man Schultz. It was the last one he had.
Schultz is a good man. Earl claimed he was the best lamb chop man he ever knew.
Oh?
But who the dickens ever sees any lamb chops nowadays?
Well, we got to get along without some things.
I know, but the way the government's handling this food situation, we'll all be eating grass before long.
I don't think it's as bad as that, Floyd. What do you know about the government's food policy anyway?
Told you, my cousin was a butcher.
He's been in the Army for a year and a half. He's been eating pretty well, isn't he?
Well, he must be getting his share. His wife told me he put on 14 pounds.
All right. There's 7 or 8 million men in the services besides your cousin Earl.
Now, Mr. Gildersleeve, don't get me wrong. I'm not begrudging anything to the boys. But what I want to know is why do we have to feed every Tom, Dick, and Harry in Timbuktu when I don't know where else?
Floyd, who's been filling you with enemy propaganda?
Now, don't be calling me a Nazi, Mr. Gildersleeve. I did my bit in the last war.
All the more reason you should know better. Do you begrudge the food we send to England?
No.
I should hope not. The English people get 1 egg every 3 months.
Yes.
And how about the Russians? You want their army to slow up for lack of food?
No, but what...
But what?
Why do we have to feed them people in Timbuktu?
Floyd, you're a jackass.
Now, Mr. Gildersleeve, I think that's going a little far.
Floyd, it pains me to have to agree with Mr. Gildersleeve, but in this instance, I do.
Yes, and it might interest you to know, Floyd, there's plenty of food for everybody in this country.
It's easy enough for you to talk. You got a pot roast.
That's got nothing to do with it. The fact is, we're getting as much food as we got 5 years ago.
Horse collar.
Floyd, the man's right. I saw a government report yesterday. It says same thing.
Well, it don't sound right to me.
Well, it is right. With the Victory Gardens and all, there's enough food for every man, woman, and child in this country. But that doesn't mean we can eat 10-course dinners every night or waste a lot of good food we could just as well save for another meal.
Well, now, there's no cause to get excited, Mr. Gildersleeve.
There is, too. Rummies like you complaining while we're still the best-fed people in the world. That's the kind of squawking that keeps black markets open. Now, cut it out, Floyd.
Gildersleeve, you're absolutely right.
I know I'm right, Hooker. But thanks anyway.
Don't thank me. I just know the truth when I hear it, that's all.
Oh? Oh. Look, Horace, maybe I'm being a little selfish about my pot roast. Why don't you drop in and have supper with us tonight?
Why, I'd love to, Gildy, but I've accepted a dinner invitation for this evening from Leela Ransom.
What? Look here, you old goat. Mrs. Ransom was my fiancée just a few months ago.
Can't help that, Gildy. She's back in circulation now.
Why? Well, you won't have any pot roast anyway.
The great Gildersleeve will be with us again in just a few seconds. Naturally, all good cooks like a little praise now and then. And I've found that a sure way to win the heartfelt appreciation of any cook is to clean your plate at every meal. You'll be pleasing Uncle Sam, too, every time you clean your plate, because by eating every last bite, you help prevent waste, help to make food fight for freedom. Of course, to avoid waste, it's mighty important that you serve foods in tempting, appetizing ways. So here's a war-timely suggestion. When you serve such hearty, sustaining foods as bread, rolls, or muffins, serve them with delicious Parquet margarine. Oh, yes, ma'am. When such grand foods as bread and muffins, pancakes and waffles, too, are spread with Parquet margarine, they're downright good eating. Parquet's flavor adds to your enjoyment of many fine foods, because Parquet's flavor is both delicate and satisfying. Parquet margarine is a grand energy food, too, and every single pound contains 9,000 units of important vitamin A. So tomorrow ask for delicious, nourishing Parquet. Parkay. Parquet margarine made by Kraft. And now, where do we find the great Gildersleeve? Well, he couldn't put it off forever. He's up a ladder trying to pry loose the screens from the second-story windows. But let's leave him there for a moment and see what goes on in the kitchen. On the kitchen table sits the light of Gildersleeve's life, his pot roast, all trussed up and ready for the fire. It's a truly majestic roast, a prime cut if there ever was one. And Bertie sings as she slices up tender little carrots to go with it.
Little carrots, get in the pot. Little carrots, get in the pot. Little carrots, there's room for many of more. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely, Miss Ransom.
My, something smells wonderful, Bertie. I declare you're the best cook.
Yes, ma'am.
One of these days I'm going to steal you for myself.
You won't be the first that's tried it. If you're looking for Mr. Gildersleeve, he's out front.
I know, I saw him.
You want me to call him?
Oh, no, don't. I don't want to disturb him. I came around the back way on purpose so I wouldn't. I'll tell you, Bertie. You see, I'm having company for dinner tonight, and I was counting on a roast.
Oh.
But by the time I got to the butcher shop, there just wasn't a thing left.
Well, Miss Ransom, I don't know.
Well, I told Mr. Gildersleeve I couldn't think of letting him offer me his roast, but you know how he is.
Yes, I know.
So I thought as long as he isn't having company, and as long as he practically insisted, I'll just owe him a roast. Oh, my, it's a gorgeous one, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I think maybe I ought to ask him.
Oh, I know he won't mind. I'll just borrow the pot, too, if it's all right.
Take the pot, take the roast, take the whole thing.
Be sure and thank you for me, Bertie.
I don't know if he's going to thank me. Now what am I going to do? Spend a whole day fixing a nice dinner. In comes the widow, and out goes the roast. That man, he'd give away his soul if the devil asked him nice.
Fee-fi-fo-fum. I smell pot roast. Yum, yum, yum.
I don't know what you smell, Mr. Gildersleeve, but it ain't pot roast.
Well, get it ready, Bertie. Get it on the fire. I'm as hungry as a bear.
Mr. Gildersleeve, didn't Miss Ransom speak to you?
To tell you the truth, Bertie, she seems to be making a point of not speaking to me.
Uh-oh.
But that's all right. I'm not speaking to her. Why, Bertie? Why do you ask?
Oh, nothing, Mr. Gildersleeve, only, well, there's been a miscalculation somewhere.
Uh-huh.
supper?
Never you mind. How's the movies, Leroy?
Super. Salute to the Marines, Wallace Beery. It's about this old sergeant, that's Wallace Beery. He's crazy about the Marines, only they won't send him to China. So he quits.
Leroy, get out that pot.
So he quits, and he gets these kids and trains them. Well...
That's fine. Now go call your uncle and tell him dinner's ready, such as it is.
Hey, come and get it! So he gets these
That's
kids...
no way. Go and tell him nice. This is one time we got to break it to him gently.
Okay. Dinner!
You don't need to scream, Leroy. I hear you quite perfectly.
Oh, I didn't see, Unc. Dinner.
Thanks. How was the movie?
Super. Everything is perfect except Wallace Beery dies in the end. He's this old Marine.
Suppose you tell me about it later, Leroy. Where's your sister?
Up in her room.
Marjorie! Dinner!
She's got her door locked. She won't come out.
What's the matter with her?
Don't ask me. Probably Wally Hoff stood her up or something.
Oh, I'll have to talk to her. You go sit down, young man. Oh, Marjorie! Oh, won't answer, huh? Marjorie! Oh, Marjorie! Marjorie! Marjorie, open the door. Open this door before I break it down.
It's not locked.
Oh? Dinner's ready, my dear.
I don't think I care for any, thank you.
Well, you got to have dinner. You can't just lie there. What's wrong, honey?
Nothing.
Oh, come on, tell your old uncle. What's wrong?
Oh, nothing. Just life, I guess.
I don't think that's anything to be so sad about.
You wouldn't understand.
Why not?
Because you're middle-aged. Your life is practically over. And I'm young. And what have I got to look forward to?
Well, there are lots of things.
What? Name one.
Well, there's, we're having pot roast for dinner.
Pot roast. All you ever think about is eating.
Now, listen here, young lady. I want no more of this nonsense. I want to know what this is all about. Is it that Wally Hoff?
Hey, Unc, hurry up!
Is it?
Oh, why will nobody let me alone?
Answer me. Is it?
Yes.
I thought so.
He said he'd call me up. And he didn't. That was 3 days ago.
Now. Maybe he just forgot. Why don't you call him up?
I'd rather die.
Well, I'm glad to hear you say it. I never did have any use for that loafer. The less you see of him, the better. Why,
Don't you say anything against Wally Hoff.
But, my dear, I thought...
Let me alone.
Yeah, but you said yourself...
Get out. Can't I have any privacy in my own room?
Oh, my God.
What did I tell you?
Women, I give up. Come on, Leroy.
Okay, Bertie. Well, anyway, so Wallace Beery gets these kids, and he trains them how to march and drill and everything. And then along come the Japs.
Japs? What in the world are you talking about?
Salute to the Marines. I was just telling you.
Tell me about it some other time.
I kept your soup hot for you, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Oh, thank you, Bertie.
Marjorie ain't coming to dinner?
No, I guess Leroy and I'll have to take care of that pot roast by ourselves, Bertie. But don't worry, we'll do justice to it. Won't we, Leroy?
Yeah.
Mr. Gildersleeve, let's face it, there ain't no pot roast.
Bertie, no pot roast?
I know I should have told you before, but I didn't have the heart, not to mention the courage.
Bertie, I bought it myself. I brought it home with my own hands. What's happened to it?
Well, Miss Ransom took it out of here with her own hands.
Mrs. Ransom?
Yes, sir.
Why in the world did you let her do that?
Well, she said she was having company for dinner, and she let on like you wanted her to have the roast. I didn't know what to do, and I figured she was your lady friend.
She's no friend of mine, Bertie, and no lady either. Don't repeat that, Leroy. And her so-called company is none other than Judge Hooker. Why, that old goat, he's sitting over there right now eating my pot roast. That's women for you. By George, I've stood for a lot, but I won't stand for this.
You going over there, Unc?
Well, I'm going someplace. I'm not going to sit here and eat a poached egg.
Poor Mr. Gildersleeve.
What a character. So anyway, along come the Japs. But Wallace Beery is ready for him. I'm Wallace Beery.
Hello, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Well, Peavy, give me a cigar.
I suppose you want the usual.
Anything. I'm so darn mad. Peavy, Anybody who has anything to do with women is not only an idiot, he's wasting his time.
Well, I wouldn't say that.
It's a fact, and that goes for all of them. I'm through with women completely and permanently.
Again?
Yes. I mean it, Peavy. You inquire around, and you'll find that women are responsible for 9/10 of all the trouble in this world.
Interesting idea, Mr. Gildersleeve. Would you care to enlarge on it?
In the first place, Peavy, women are tricky.
Well, now that you mention it...
I'll go farther than that. They're sneaky.
Yeah, but you have to remember, Mr. Gildersleeve, there are women and there are women.
Yes, and those are just the ones I'm talking about. I tell you, they'll take advantage of you every time. You try to be a little polite to them, and the first thing you know, they'll come in and steal your pot roast.
Oh. I take it there's been some trouble over a pot roast.
Pot roast, rib roast, that's not the point. It's the principle of the thing.
Mr. Gildersleeve, did you ever try a chuck roast?
Yeah.
Now, there's a delicious cut that most people overlook, and it's economical, too.
Peavy, I'm talking about women, not cuts of beef.
I'm sorry.
What was I saying when I was interrupted? Oh, I'm saying that a man is a fool if he puts his trust in a woman.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that. Mrs. Peavy and I, we managed
Yeah, I know. Mrs. Peavy is an exception to all the rules.
Well, I wouldn't say that either.
I'm not talking about any one woman. I'm talking about women in general. Now, you take Marjorie, a nice girl. You wouldn't want a nicer one, but completely unreasonable. I tell you, Peavy, you can't even talk to him. It's a fact. You cannot have a reasonable discussion with a woman. Well?
I was just trying to think if I'd ever had one.
That's one thing I like about Miss Goodwin. You can talk to her.
Well, there you are. Miss Goodwin is a woman.
All right. It so happens she's a woman. But she has a mind more like a man's. We're not talking about women anyway.
Oh, when did we switch?
Speaking of Miss Goodwin, I wonder, what time have you got, Peavy?
7:45.
I ought to take her something, though, if I do. Peavy, I'd like a box of chocolates.
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Gildersleeve. We haven't been able to get any chocolate for some months now. War, you know.
Oh. Well, what else can you suggest?
This is for Miss Goodwin, I take it.
You know darn well it is.
Well, if what you say about the lady is true...
What did I say about her?
You said she has the mind of a man.
That's right. What about it?
How about a nice box of cigars?
You're a card, Peavy. You're a card.
Throckmorton, I know you enjoy symphony concerts, don't you?
Oh, yes. The symphony is wonderful. Bach, Beethoven, Brahms, they're all great, Eve. Toscanini, too.
Toscanini's one of the finest conductors alive today, according to Time magazine.
Yeah, they had that in Newsweek, too.
Mm-hmm. I read somewhere the other day a list of the 10 greatest conductors of all time, and Toscanini was ranked third.
Only third? I'd like to know who's any better conductor than Toscanini.
I can't remember. Probably some great conductor of the past.
Well, they're dead. You'd have a hard time proving they were better than Toschi. N'est-ce pas?
Oui, monsieur.
Oui, monsieur. By George, it's a pleasure to talk to a woman like you, Eve. A woman that's been around. A woman that reads occasionally.
Thank you. Oh, I've been meaning to ask you. I've changed my pictures around, and I want you to tell me which way is better.
Well, now, let's see.
You remember I used to have the Grant Wood picture here over the mantel, and the Cezanne still life there opposite the window. Do you think they're better the way I have them now?
Oh, they look great. That Grant Wood picture certainly looks like a farm.
It's beautiful.
I read in some paper that Grant Wood was one of the 10 best American painters. Did you read that?
I think it was in Life. Do you want me to put the pictures back where they were before so you can tell which way is better? Or can you visualize them?
Oh, I can visualize them. Don't move them. They're perfect just the way they are.
Oh, I'm so glad you think so. I like them better this way. But it's nice to have a man decide things.
Ooh.
Tell me, Throckmorton, who is your favorite painter?
My favorite painter? Well, now, there's an awful lot of painters.
Another of my beloved authors is Dickens. Do you like Dickens?
Dickens is great. One of my favorites.
Which do you prefer, David Copperfield or the old Curiosity Shop?
Well, they're both very well written.
Masterpieces. But I think I like David Copperfield better. Mr. McCabe is such a rich character.
Oh, yes, he had plenty of money, all right.
Money? Oh, I'm afraid you've got Mr. McCabe mixed up with someone else.
Oh, of course. Money. I was thinking of Mr. Scrooge.
In the Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm afraid you haven't reread David Copperfield very recently, Throckmorton.
Well, no, I skipped it this year. It's a beautiful dress you're wearing, Eve.
I'm awfully glad you like it.
Are you fond of symphonies? I asked you that, didn't I?
Mm-hmm.
How about operas?
Well, I've never been to one, but I love opera music, don't you?
Oh, I sure do.
I suppose you've been to the opera, haven't you?
No, I've seen them in the movies, of course.
Well, I'm sure that's not the same. But sometimes one hears a lovely aria on the radio. Verdi is wonderful, don't you think?
Great, one of my favorites.
Mm-hmm. La 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 la
la la la la la la. Solo mio, yeah. Of course, once in a while, I like a nice musical comedy. You know, if it's well presented.
Or an operetta. I heard John Charles Thomas once in a beautiful operetta.
Oh, he's great. Say, Eve, did you ever hear the story about the fellow that said he was fond of operettas, and the other fellow said, what kind of operettas do you like? And he said, telephone operettas. Yeah. I like a good story once in a while. You know, you got a nice laugh, Eve. Sounds nice. Looks pretty, too.
I hope you mean that.
Oh, I do. You look nice when you smile, too.
I'll try to smile oftener for you.
You will? Eve?
Yes?
The political situation is very interesting now.
Oh, I suppose so.
Yes, mighty interesting. At least, well, there's going to be an election next year.
I know they'll be holding the primaries very soon.
The primaries are very important. Eve, I want you to know how much I'm enjoying our conversation. Most women don't care much for discussing politics and things like that.
No, I suppose not.
But you're different. You think like a man.
Oh, but I'm not a man, Throckmorton.
No, you're not. By George, you certainly aren't. Eve.
What is it?
Would you like to be kissed?
Yes, but I thought you'd never get around to it.
Yeah. Say, this is better than pot roast any day. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm afraid I lost my temper a little this morning talking to Floyd in the barber shop, but the whole question of food is terribly important. Food is one of the most important weapons in this war. It's becoming more important all the time. Right now, only a tiny percentage of our food, less than 1%, is going to the people our fighting men have liberated from the enemy. But as time goes on, more food will be needed for this purpose. We should be glad to give it, because food is a powerful psychological weapon for encouraging resistance among the people who have starved so long under the Nazis. The food we provide to the liberated peoples helps them to become self-supporting again and to fight on our side. And at the same time, it holds out hope to those behind the enemy lines. These two factors can save thousands of lives of our own soldiers and sailors. So let's produce all we can, conserve all we can, go easy on the scarce items, and keep the rules. There'll be plenty of food for all of us, and the war will be over sooner. Good night, ladies and gentlemen.
Music heard on this program was directed by Claude Sweet. This is Ken Carpenter speaking for the Kraft Cheese Company and inviting you to listen again next week for the further adventures of the great Gildersleeve. This program came to you from Hollywood. This is the National Broadcasting Company. Kraft presents the great Gildersleeve. Cheese Company, who also bring you the Kraft Music Hall every Thursday night, present each week at this time Harold Perry as the Great Gildersleeve, written by John Whedon and Sam Moore. We'll hear from the Great Gildersleeve in just a moment. You know, I can remember back in my boyhood days how we kids used to gather near the kitchen of a late afternoon, drinking in the heavenly smell of fresh-baked bread and rolls. And, of course, the boys and girls of today are no different. When baking time's at hand, you'll find them gravitating to the kitchen with the same hungry, eager look of anticipation on their faces. And how our youngsters love to devour fresh bread and rolls, especially with an appetizing spread like parquet margarine to make all our baking treats so temptingly delicious. Parquet, you see, is far different from old-time margarines. Parquet margarine has a delicate flavor. Yes, it's a margarine that really tastes good. A splendid energy food, too, made from highest quality ingredients. And unlike margarines of even a few years back, Parquet is fortified with vitamin A, 9,000 units of this important vitamin to each pound. So if you haven't tried margarine lately, discover Parquet's delicious flavor and nourishing goodness by asking your food dealer tomorrow for Parquet, Parkay. Parquet margarine made by Kraft. Now let's see what's happening to the Great Gildersleeve. Well, last week, you remember, our overstuffed hero found himself exchanging tender salutes with Miss Eve Goodwin, on whom he had merely intended to pay a friendly call. We find him now about 12 hours later behaving as any man does when he has a new girl. In short, he's singing in the bathtub.
Don't throw bouquets at me. Don't please my folks too much. Don't laugh at my jokes too much. People will say we're in love. Well, let them say it. What do I care? What is it?
It's me, Unc. Can I ask you something?
I'll be out in just a second, my boy.
Okay.
Darn soap. No wonder people are always getting killed in the bathtub. Oh, stop her. Yeah, just as soon as I dry myself. Don't laugh at my jokes too much. Well, wonder if I'm gaining any weight. Gee, these bathroom scales are no good. How do they expect you to see the numbers?
Come on, Unc. What are you doing now?
Putting on my pants.
Well, for Pete's sake. Oh, say, Unc, would you mind...
One side, Leroy. Let me look in that mirror for a minute. Attention! By George, nobody can call me a fat man.
No, sir. Now relax.
Well, you can't get my goat this morning, my boy. What is it you wanted to ask me?
Oh, I've organized this football team, see? And I'm the quarterback, and we're going to play Piggy's team.
Fine. Go right ahead and play, Leroy.
There's just one catch, Unc. We need a football.
Oh. Well, Christmas is coming.
But by Christmas, the season is over.
That's true. Well, I'll have to think about it. Who's that?
Breakfast is ready, Uncle Mort. Pancakes.
Oh, I'll be right down, my dear. You go on, Leroy. I'll be down in 2 minutes.
Okay. You be thinking about the football.
I got something better than that to think about. La-dee-da-dee-da. Oh, I better phone her before she leaves for school. Da-dee-da-da-da-da. Dee-dee-dee. Oh, darn it, she must have left already. Well, I'll send her a note.
Uncle Mort!
Coming! By George, it's a beautiful day. A day like this, a man feels good enough to lick his weight in wildcats.
Well, good morning, Uncle Mort.
Well, good morning, my dear. You're looking radiant this morning.
You seem to be feeling radiant. What happened to you last night?
Oh, nothing.
The reason she's so full of beans is her boyfriend finally called her last night.
Well, that's fine, my dear. It's love that makes the world go round.
Gosh, you are feeling good.
Morning, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Good morning, Bertie. Thou treasure finer than spun gold.
Yes, sir. You want orange juice or tomato?
To squeeze or not to squeeze, that is the question. Whether 'tis nobler to squeeze an orange or open a can of tomato juice, odds butkins.
Maybe I better bring him food.
Whatever easiest, Bertie.
Yes, sir.
Hey, Bertie, any more of those pancakes?
In just a minute, Leroy. Can you stand a few pancakes, Miss Gildersleeve?
Could I? At least 3 stacks this morning, Bertie.
Okay.
What time is it, Uncle Mort?
About 8:30, my dear. Why?
Well, I wonder if I've got time to put on another dress.
Well, I suppose so. The one you got on looks very nice.
Oh, it's all right, but there's another one I'd rather wear.
Wally likes the other one better.
That's right, Leroy.
Gosh, what's the matter with everybody this morning?
We're all happy, my boy.
Well, I'm going up some change.
Leroy, I want you to do me a favor.
Sure, Unc. What is it?
Well, I wonder if you could...
Here's your tomato juice, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Oh, thank you, Bertie.
And here's your last stack, Leroy.
Thanks, thou treasure.
Whole house is crazy this morning.
Leroy, I want you to take a note to the superintendent of your school.
Okay, where is it? Oh, can you reach the syrup, Unc?
Here. I'll have to write the note.
Gee, you better hurry. I gotta go.
I'll go in my study and write it now. And don't you go without it.
Okay.
Let me see. My darling Eve, I can't wait to see you again. I'll be around this evening for another kiss. Your naughty Throckmorton. Where are those fancy envelopes I got for Christmas? Oh, yeah, here.
Hey, Unc, hurry up.
Hey, coming. Here you are, Leroy. Now, wait till I seal it.
I won't read it.
You're a wonderful boy, Leroy, and I trust you completely. But this is important business. There.
Okay.
Now, you're to give the letter to Miss Goodwin personally.
Yep.
But wait till there's no one else around.
Yep.
And then ask her for an answer.
Okay.
And if everything works out, maybe you'll get a football for Thanksgiving. Why do I love you? Why do you love me? I'll answer it, Bertie. Oh, hello, Leela.
Hello, Throckmorton. Guess what? I've been shopping already. I've brought you a little peace offering.
Peace offering?
Mm-hmm. I borrowed a pot roast from you yesterday, remember?
Perfectly.
Well, I do hope it didn't put you out too much. It just saved my life. But I couldn't sleep a wink till I'd returned it. So I went downtown this morning and I bought you this.
Well, we'll have to see what it is.
I took a chance. I do hope you like steak, Throckmorton.
Steak? Like it? Oh, brother, look at that. Hey, Bertie, come here and look.
What is Mr. Gil... Oh, my goodness.
Leela, this isn't black market.
Oh, of course not, silly. The butcher just likes me.
Oh.
Besides, I'm invited out to dinner so often I have more points that I can use.
Bertie, take that right out and put it in the icebox and guard it with your life.
Yes, sir, I sure will.
Hide it behind the milk bottles or something.
Don't you worry. Ain't nobody gonna get their hands on this.
Leela, you shouldn't have done it. After all, a pot roast is only a pot roast.
Oh, but I love doing things for you, Throckmorton.
Oh, really?
Down where I come from, we have an old saying, the way to a man's heart is through his stomach.
Very good, yeah.
Throckmorton, let's stop pretending.
Pretending what? Who's pretending?
You and I, we've been living a lie, Throckmorton.
Well, I don't know about you.
Oh,
but...
yes, we have, and it's all my fault. I've been a foolish, thoughtless, mixed-up little girl, and I've hurt you, poor boy.
No, you haven't.
Yes, I have, Throckmorton.
Honest?
I went away and left you, and when I came back, I wasn't very nice to you. I've hurt you cruelly, and you've taken it like a gentleman.
Well, I always try to be polite.
But now I've come to say I'm sorry and ask you if you can ever forgive me.
Sure, I forgive you.
Oh, but forgiveness is not that easy, Throckmorton.
Why not? If I say I forgive you, what more do you want?
Well, I've got to earn your forgiveness.
Oh? Well, you brought me this steak. Let's call it even.
Oh, why do we have to go on hurting each other this way?
Who's hurt? I just said thanks for the steak.
You don't understand.
Now, listen, don't start crying. I can't stand crying. Leela, I don't know what I did, but I'm sorry.
Oh, you don't understand. I'm crying because you're so sweet.
Well, I won't be so sweet then. Only stop crying.
Well, perhaps it was all for the best, Throckmorton.
Sure. What was?
Oh, We were too much in love, foolishly, recklessly in love.
Sure, we were crazy.
Oh. And so much too young.
Well, I was 42.
Too young to know our own minds, I mean.
Oh, sure, we didn't know what we were doing.
Oh, perhaps it would have been a mistake for us to have married just then.
Worst thing that could have happened to us.
Perhaps it was Providence that stopped us at the last minute.
I thought it was Beauregard.
Poor Beauregard. You'll never know what a shock it was, having him turn up after I thought he was dead all these years.
Very unsettling.
And then to have him go like that, after I'd got used to having him around.
Here today, gone tomorrow.
Yes. It was such a dreadful way to go, kicked by a mule.
Well, we can't all be choosers.
I made a vow that day, Throckmorton. I vowed I'd never even look at another man for 3 months.
That was right.
Out of respect for his memory, I thought it was the decent thing to do.
You were absolutely right.
Oh, you've been so understanding, Throckmorton. But you won't have to be understanding any longer, because those 3 months were up yesterday.
Leela, I want to take this opportunity to wish you every happiness.
Oh, thank you.
I wouldn't admit it to his face, but you won't find a better man any place than the judge.
The judge?
Salt of the earth. I'd give my shirt for that old goat.
Oh, but Throckmorton...
Don't worry about me. I'll bear up somehow. As you say, it was just one of those things. One of those things that was never meant to be. Oh, well, a man has his work. And who knows, maybe someday, somehow, sometime, somebody...
Throckmorton, are you trying to tell me you don't love me?
Huh?
There's someone else, isn't there?
Huh?
Tell me, what's she like?
Well, she's the kind of... What's who like?
She's very talented, isn't she?
Well...
And very handsome.
Well...
I suppose she likes to go for long walks and discuss things.
Leela, who have you been talking to?
Oh, I don't blame you, Throckmorton. A woman like that with a brilliant mind full of mathematics and politics and all.
That's not all.
I think it'd be foolish to waste any time on me with my poor little talent. Tell me, does she play the piano?
Oh, yes, very well.
The classics, I suppose?
She plays them all.
Oh, how wonderful. Think of the long evenings you'll have. Now me, all I know is silly little love songs like, Speak to me of love, da, 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 da.
Yes. Tender words of love, repeat them again. I implore you, speak to me of... Ooh, I gotta go.
Not right now, just for a minute.
I can't, Leela. I'm late for something. I gotta be somewhere.
Oh, Throckmorton, please, it's the last thing I'll ever ask you.
No tears now, please. Eve? I mean Leela? Oh, let me out of here.
I've lost him, the best man I ever
had. The great Gildersleeve will be with us again in just a few moments. Here's an alarming fact, and one that should set all of us thinking about the importance of food as a weapon of war. Enough food is wasted annually in our American homes to feed the larger part of our armed forces at home and abroad. Now, that's one reason why all through this month of November you'll hear a rousing challenge to make food fight for freedom. You can begin right now, today, at home, to make food fight for freedom. You can do it through better meal planning, better food storage, by using up every single scrap of leftover food. And there are other ways, too. Share and play square with food. Pledge yourself to accept no ration foods without giving up ration stamps. Pay no more than ceiling prices. The makers of Parquet Margarine urge you to back our government's Food Fights for Freedom program and back it for all it's worth. Remember, you can do your part if you'll follow this sound, sensible advice. Produce and conserve. Always share and play square. Now, what about the great Gildersleeve? Well, he sought refuge in the quiet of his office at the Water Department, glad for the moment to turn his mind from affairs of the heart to affairs of state. And so we find him hard at work, clearing his desk as every good executive should.
Let's see what we got here. Miss, you there, Bessie. There weren't any phone calls for me this morning before I came in.
No, Mr. Gildersleeve, there weren't.
You sure there wasn't a phone call from Miss Goodwin?
No.
She's the principal of the school.
No, nobody called at all.
Strange. Have you found that correspondence yet?
No, Mr. Gildersleeve, I haven't. And I've looked everywhere. I just don't know where it could be.
Well, we've got to find it. It's important. Have you looked in the files?
The files. I'll look there.
Oh, my God. If it didn't occur to you to look there, it probably didn't occur to you to put it there either. What do you think files are for? Here, let me.
I'll look.
Look out. Bessie, what's a pair of rubbers doing in the files?
Oh, for goodness sake.
My rubbers, too. I haven't seen those since last spring. What are they doing here?
Well, I don't know. I just...
Don't tell me you don't know.
Well, you told me to put them where you'd be sure and find them.
Do you think this is any place?
Well, I put them under R.
You put them under I give up. By George, Bessie, if it weren't for the manpower shortage...
Mr. Gildersleeve, if my services are not satisfactory, I could go someplace elsewhere.
If you cry, you're fired.
I can't help it.
Oh, what is this? I'm sorry, Bessie.
You never think of me as a human being.
I'll admit it hadn't occurred to me.
I have feelings, too.
Yes, I know, Bessie. I shouldn't have spoken to you like that. I'm sorry. Here, blow your nose. That's it. I guess I'm a little on edge today. Tell me, Bessie, have you ever known what it is to be in love? Well, you needn't blush like that. Bessie, you're not in love.
Oh, I guess I am.
Well, that's fine, little Bessie. It's nothing to be ashamed of, you know. All the world loves a lover. Tell me, does he love you?
Oh, this party doesn't even know I exist, even hardly.
Well, maybe one of these days he'll wake up.
So if he knew, he'd just think it was silly. He'd just think I had a crush or something. He's an older man.
Oh.
So I just worship him from afar. Every morning I come in and I dust off his desk and I think...
Bessie! Bessie, get busy. Do something. Find that correspondence. Take those rubbers out. I've got to go out. But if you keep looking, Bessie. I may not be back till after lunch. I may not be back at all.
Gosh, what a noise. Is that you, Leroy?
No, my dear, it's me. Isn't Leroy home yet?
No, he isn't.
Well, he should be. I've told him time and again to come straight home from school.
Today's the music lesson.
Oh, that darn music's a nuisance to him and everybody else. Don't tell him I said so, Marjorie.
Why are you in such a tizzy about Leroy?
I'm not in any...
There he is, slamming the door again.
Boys will be boys.
Hi, Unc. Hi, beautiful.
Oh, Leroy.
I saw Wally Hop in Peavy's drugstore just now, Marge.
Leroy.
Who's he with?
Wouldn't you like to know?
Leroy, please.
What is it, Unc?
Have you got a message for me?
Message? Oh, yeah. You're all set for tonight, Unc.
Well,
Who was Wally with, Leroy?
Mr. Peavy.
Oh, you rat.
Leroy, was there any... come into my study for a moment, will you?
What for? I haven't done anything.
I know that, my boy. You've done your uncle a great favor. There's just something I'd like to ask you.
Oh.
If you'll excuse us, my dear.
Oh, go right ahead.
Now, Leroy, where?
In her office.
Anyone else there?
I don't know. Gosh, I can't remember everything. Well, she thanked me, I guess, and then I told her I was supposed to get an answer, and she opened it.
Fine.
She said she was going to ask you over anyway.
Well, Leroy, you're a splendid messenger. I'll get you that football tomorrow.
Oh, gee, thanks. She said Judge Hooker's going to be there, too, to talk about the school board.
What? It'll be the briefest meeting in history.
I'm awfully glad you could come, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Well, so am I, Miss Goodwin. Long time no see.
You too, Judge.
Thank you.
Let's all sit down, shall we?
Yes. Don't you want to sit over here on the couch?
Thanks, Gildy. I will.
You can have it all to yourself, Judge. Now, what was the problem, Miss Goodwin?
Well, Judge Hooker's going to explain the whole thing. Have you got your notes, Judge?
Right here.
Oh, my goodness, pages and pages.
Well, let's see. In the year 1913, the population of Summerfield was 14,967.
You have to go that far back, Horace?
Well, it's a necessary part of the story, Gildy. You'll see in a minute. In the year 1913, the tax rate was 3 mils.
3 mils.
In the year 1914, it was increased. By the year 1922, the tax rate had increased to 6 mils.
Yeah.
And in the year 1923, it had increased to a point. The year 1933. In 1933, now get this, it's very interesting. In 1933, the tax rate went down 1 mil.
You don't say.
Yeah, but then in 1934, it increased again. The situation in 1943 is not going to be so easy. Have I made myself clear?
In 2 hours, you made yourself clear as mud, Judge. Now, what's this all about?
We need 2 new teachers in our school.
Well, why didn't you say so? We'll get them. Nothing hard about that.
Now, Gildersleeve,
I'll explain it to the board in 2 minutes. Now, I move we adjourn.
But, Mr. Gildersleeve,
The board will understand it, Eve. They're not all as dumb as Hooker.
Well, I think Judge Hooker's made a very brilliant analysis of the situation.
Well, let's leave it to our friend Gildersleeve, Miss Goodwin. He seems to think he can put it over.
Sure. I move we adjourn.
All right, Gildy. Since our business is concluded, perhaps we can all discuss something pleasanter. Relax for a few minutes.
Yes.
Now, let me catch you relaxing, Judge.
Miss Goodwin, did I ever tell you about the case I tried involving a man with 3 wives?
That's too many for tonight, Horace. Dr. Pettibone told you to be in bed every night by 10 o'clock.
Oh, I'm sure the judge could stay a little longer.
Why, Eve.
The judge has been very kind to come over this evening.
Well, I just don't want him to overdo. You got to be fresh for the board meeting tomorrow afternoon, Judge.
Yeah, that's true. And it is 10:30. Maybe I better be running along.
Well, if you must, Horace.
Now, don't rush me too fast or I'll get stubborn.
Yeah.
Judge, there is something I want to discuss with Mr. Gildersleeve.
Oh, that's more like it.
I'm afraid I must go. Good night, gracious lady.
Good night, and thank you again.
Let me see you to the door, Jack.
Very kind of you, I'm sure, Gildersleeve.
Now get out of here, you old goat.
What'd you say?
Good night, Judge.
Good night.
Now. Well, Eve, here we are. Alone, aren't we?
Yes, Throckmorton.
How about a little kiss?
No. No, please don't.
Eve, what's the matter?
I never should have let you kiss me last night, Throckmorton. It was all a dreadful mistake.
No, it wasn't. Eve, what have I done?
Nothing. It isn't anything like that.
Well, then what is it?
Throckmorton, when you kissed me last night, it didn't mean anything to you.
Oh, yes, it did, Eve.
All right. Just what did it mean?
Lots of things. Let me kiss you again. I'll show you.
No, Throckmorton. I want you to pretend last night was just a dream. A dream that never happened.
But Eve, why?
Well, I believe that when a woman loves, it should be for an important reason. I believe that love should be a splendid, glowing, exciting adventure. What do you think?
Sounds good to me.
Well, we've got to start all over again, Throckmorton.
Now?
No. We mustn't even think about such things anymore.
Oh, my God.
We must build a beautiful relationship of the spirit, like Eloise and Abelard, like Dante and Beatrice, like all the great lovers of history. We must become worthy of each other. Please try to understand.
Well, I am trying, but it's pretty tough, Eve. Don't you like me?
Yes, very much.
Well, then...
I want it to be more than that. I want you to be a man I'd follow to the ends of the earth. I want you to be a hero.
Eve, I'm too old to join the Marines.
Well, there are other ways of being a hero. I want you to think about them.
But, Eve...
Please go now. But do think about what I've said, Throckmorton. And then, perhaps in a month or so, come and see me.
A month. Eve.
Good night, Throckmorton.
Good night, Eve. Couldn't I just have one little... Eloise and Abelard. Why the devil did I ever get mixed up with a school teacher? Can't live without him. Can't live with him. How many times does a fella have to get burnt before he learns? Just born to be made a fool of, I guess. Well, I give up. Well, I see Peavy's still open.
Oh, hello, Mr. Gildersleeve. Just frozen up here.
Well, don't let me stop you.
Something I can do for you?
No, I just dropped in. I'll walk along with you if you're going home.
Yeah, I'll be right with you. I've just got one or two things to send to here.
Take your time, Peavy.
You seem to be a little down in the mouth this evening, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Well, maybe I am, Peavy. Maybe I am.
No bad news, I hope.
Well, not exactly bad news, no. But when a woman tells you one thing 1 minute and another the next, I don't know.
Yes, that's what makes them women, Mr. Gildersleeve.
I thought this one was different. But I guess they're all alike, Peavy. Good and bad, rich or poor, they're all alike.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that.
Well, they are. Where there's a woman concerned, there's no peace. You never know where you stand.
Well, I wouldn't say that either. Now, with Mrs. Peavy, well, I guess it's like the poet says, Mr. Gildersleeve. It takes a heap of living. Man and woman have got to live together for years and years before they really understand one another. But when they do, it's kind of peaceful, kind of nice.
I guess you're right, Peavy.
Now, Mrs. Peavy and I have been married for over 23 years. And in all that time, I don't think she's ever once... Oh, excuse me. Peavy's Pharmacy. Oh, hello, dear. Yeah, I was just... Well, I was just... Yes, dear. Yes, dear. Well, no, I wouldn't say that. I was just... Well, good gracious to Betsy, woman. I was just... Yeah, fiddle.
Yeah. Come on, Peavy. Good night, everybody.
Program was directed by Claude Creek. This is Ken Carpenter speaking for the Kraft Cheese Company, inviting you to listen again next week for the further adventures of the great Gildersleeve.
Ladies, a quick solution to the main dish puzzle, especially for those times when the stamps are running low. For one single ration point, get 2 packages of Kraft Dinner, the product that gives you grand macaroni and cheese in just 7 minutes cooking time. There are 2 dinner main dishes for a family of 4. A bargain in points, you bet. But wait till you taste this quick-made macaroni and cheese. The macaroni in each Kraft Dinner package cooks fluffy tender in just 7 minutes. The Kraft grated in each package lets you put the tangy cheese flavor through and through the macaroni in a twinkling. Twist the hot Kraft Dinner into a dish, and you're all set. Or mold the Kraft Dinner into a ring or tin barrels and serve it with creamed vegetables, fish, or a small amount of meat. Now, do you see why so many women say Kraft Dinner is tops as a help with wartime meals? Get some soon. Kraft Dinner for swell macaroni and cheese in a hurry. This program came to you from Hollywood. This is the National Broadcasting Company.
For all you soldiers, sailors, and Marines of the United Nations, the Special Service Division presents another episode in the amazing life of the great Gildersleeve.
Now let's peep into the life of the great Gildersleeve. Our hero has finished his breakfast on this morning and has retreated from the jumble of ladders and paint buckets that still litter his living room onto the front porch. We find him there now waiting to share a ride downtown with Judge Hooker.
didn't eat much breakfast, Uncle Mort.
I wasn't very hungry.
Neither was I. The prunes tasted like turpentine.
You know, I think that painter keeps his turpentine in our icebox.
Hasn't been here for a week now. Isn't he ever going to finish the job?
I don't know, and I don't dare ask him. Oh, well, here's the postman.
Morning, Mr. Gildersleeve. This mail for you.
Thank you, Mr. Fauci. Mostly bills, I suppose.
Mostly. You got an airmail from New York City that might be something.
Well, airmail from New York. Thanks, Newt. Well. It's from Brink.
Brinkerhoff? That stuck-up kid that visited here last year?
His father, my dear. And he was not a stuck-up kid. He was a very well-brought-up young man. Well, what do you think of that? Brinkerhoff is coming through Summerfield, and he... Oh, my goodness.
Oh, Lord, what's the matter?
He's got his wife with him.
Well, what's the matter with her?
She's a countess.
A countess?
Yes.
A real one?
Certainly. Don't forget that Brink was the richest man in my class at college. He drove a blue Roamer and had 2 fur coats, one for Sunday.
God. Is he a millionaire?
He's got millionaires working for him. He married this countess about 3 years ago after his first wife died. Very quiet wedding, of course, on a yacht. Well, they're coming. We better get busy.
Oh, I should say so. When do they arrive?
Let's see. Oh, it's tomorrow. He says, look forward to renewing our old acquaintance. We'll arrive around 7 in the evening. Well, good old Brink.
Gee, a millionaire. Was he your roommate, Unc?
Well, no. Brink didn't have any roommate. He lived with his valet.
Oh.
Well, come on. Got to get busy. Better get Bertie started on some fancy cooking. I imagine the Countess likes plenty of hors d'oeuvres and such.
What are they, Unc?
Oh, little things you eat too many of. Marjorie, let's round up all the red stamps we've got in the house. We'll try to get a hold of a steak.
A steak? Are you going to have any other people?
Well, I suppose so. Not many people in Summerfield know how to act around a countess, though.
I know how. There was a countess in Triple Comics last week.
Gee, I wouldn't even know how to say hello to a countess.
Well, in this thing, the hero just called her darling.
I won't. Leroy, I won't have you learning manners out of comic books. You'll address the Countess as Your Excellency.
Okay. I suppose you could invite Judge Hooker, Uncle Mort.
That old goat, why, he'd fall in a dead faint if he ever saw a bona fide Countess. There's plenty of others.
Well, who?
Let's see. Nobody. All right, I'll ask Hooker, but he'll have to watch his step.
What about me? Can I be hostess?
I think you do it very nicely, my dear.
How about Mrs. Ransom?
Oh, I don't know. She and the Countess might not hit it off very well.
Miss Goodwin can talk French, Unc. I heard her the other day.
Well, an excellent suggestion, my boy. Add a little continental flavor to the occasion. Pardonnez-moi, Your Excellency, s'il vous plaît.
Are you kidding?
Mrs. Ransom will be disappointed, Unc.
Well, that's just too bad about Mrs. Ransom. I can't have everybody. Besides, Leela stole my painter, and if I... Oh, there's Judge Hooker. Well, goodbye.
Oh, Uncle Mort, see if Mr. Peavy can let you have some ice cream tomorrow.
Great. Pistachio. That was Brink's favorite. Ought to be good enough for the Countess, too.
Sorry I was late, Gildy. Had a call from the city attorney about a damage suit he's working on.
That's all right, Judge. Let me off at Peavy's, will you? I've got to do an errand.
Glad to, Gildy.
Oh, Horace, if you're not doing anything tomorrow night, I'd like you to run in for supper with some friends of mine.
Tomorrow night? Well, I generally have my bar association tomorrow.
All right, Judge. You go to the bar association. I'll ask someone else to meet Cyrus W. Brinkerhoff.
Cyrus Brinkerhoff? Has he got the Countess with him?
Yes. He and the Countess are coming to my house for supper tomorrow night, but of course, if you're busy...
Oh, Throckmorton, I'd be delighted.
Yeah.
Cyrus W. Brinkerhoff. There's a name that'll make Summerfield sit up and take notice.
Well, I'm not going to make a splurge, you understand. Brink and I were friends in college, and I'm sure he'd want everything kept simple and homey.
Well, I think you're showing splendid judgment, Throckmorton. Still, a line or two in the Summerfield Indicator.
An excellent suggestion, Horace. That's no more than common courtesy to a stranger within our gate.
Yeah. Brinkerhoff's a pretty nice fellow, is he, Gildy?
Oh, the salt of the earth, Horace. And generous? I remember in sophomore year, he gave our math teacher a fitted leather suitcase. Must have cost $150.
That's quite a present.
Yeah. And would you believe it, the darn teacher went ahead and flunked him anyway.
Well, I'll surely look forward to meeting your friend, not to mention the Countess. I remember her picture in the Rhotic Reviewer section.
Yeah, so do I. But we got to remember, she's of noble blood, Horace. You'll mind your P's and Q's.
Why, Gildy, you don't have to worry about me.
All right. Just don't want you stabbing the bread with your fork like you do at the Summerfield Grill, that's all.
Gildy, believe me, you'll have no cause
and don't stick your napkin in your shirt collar.
Dagnabbit, Gildersleeve, I've been around.
Well, just watch your step, that's all.
Are you going to dunk your bread in the gravy as usual?
No, see here, Hooker. Oh, stop. Here's Peavy's.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. And don't you worry about my manners, Gildy. I'll be the glass of fashion and the mold of form.
Yeah, that's fine, Judge. I'll see you tomorrow around 7. And bring your ration book. Goodbye, Horace.
Toodaloo.
He does something to embarrass me. Nothing like a hick lawyer.
Well, hello, Mr. Gildersleeve.
Hello, Peavy. Peavy, I've got to ask you for a special favor.
Well, I can give you anything in the drug line except penicillin or an alarm clock.
I don't need either of those, Peavy. I've got to have some ice cream that's fit for a millionaire.
Yeah, I think I can manage that. Any particular millionaire?
Oh, yes, Peavy. Hold on to your soda fountain while I tell you. Cyrus W. Brinkerhoff.
I think if I'd heard that name before, I'd remember it.
Peavy, don't you ever read the newspapers?
I read the Indicator every day.
The Indicator? Don't you ever read about Wall Street, Washington, London?
Well, not very much, Mr. Gildersleeve. You see, I don't know anybody in those places.
Well, then I'll tell you. Cyrus W. Brinkerhoff is one of the biggest men in this country.
Well, then why don't he buy his own ice cream?
He's going to be my guest, Peavy. He's coming to my house.
Well, why didn't you say so? Glad to do anything for a friend of yours.
Peavy, will you please try to get me a quart of pistachio? Brink loved it so. Back in college, he always ordered pistachio. Yes, sir. Many and many's the plate of pistachio ice cream I bought old Brink.
You bought it for Brink, Mr. Gildersleeve?
Oh, yes. Brink wasn't one of those millionaires that was always flashing his money. I often as not he was clean broke, not a penny on him. And he'd let me buy him some ice cream, or any one of the fellas. Just a big, good-natured kid. That's what I call being democratic, Peavy.
No, I wouldn't say that. You could say he was just being economical.
Peavy, you're speaking of a very dear friend of mine.
No offense.
Well, never mind. Can you get me the pistachio?
Well, I don't really know if I can, but I promised to try. I'll bring it around myself tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah, I know you'll do your best. Well, I got to be running along. A lot of things to get ready.
I can imagine. Nice you had your house done over just in time for these rich folks to see it.
Yes, very lucky. In fact, oh, good heavens, Peavy, I just remembered.
What?
My house is full of ladders, buckets, brushes, and wallpaper. Ooh, I got to go. I got to drag that painter back to work and get him to finish up somehow.
Drag him back from where, Mr. Gildersleeve?
He's been led astray by my ex-fiancée. It rhymed. Friendship is friendship, but enough is enough. When a woman comes into your house and steals your painter right off the ladder. No, see here, Leela.
She's upstairs.
Oh, Mr. Giddens. Hello.
I'll call her.
No, wait a minute, don't. She's upstairs, you say? What's she doing? Is she busy?
That I couldn't say. One thing I do, I mind my own business.
Oh, I didn't mean that.
And I keep my eyes to myself. I'm not one of these pussyfooting painters.
No. Well, I just mean...
I keep my hands off things, too. I'm not like some people. You don't have to count the silver after I've been around.
Mr. Giddens, what I wanted to say, I just wanted to have a little talk with you before Mrs. Ransom comes down.
Well, talk is cheap, as a fellow says.
Yeah, very good. Tell me, how much longer do you think it's going to take to finish her stairs?
Well, that's hard to say. Hard to say. Depends a little on the weather.
Weather? What's the weather got to do with it?
Well, on a damp day like this, varnish don't dry, you know.
Oh, that's great. I mean, I'll tell you what you do. While you're waiting for a good day here, why don't you just come over to my house and finish up where you started, in the living room?
Well, I don't know what she's going to say.
Don't tell her. You don't have to tell her you're coming over to my house. Just tell her the weather's not right, or that you got a call from home or something. Mr. Gildy, you slip right out now while she's upstairs.
Well, Throckmorton.
Oh, hello, Leela. Well, I thought you were upstairs.
I was, but I came down the back way.
Oh, yeah. I was just having a little conversation with Mr. Giddens here about the weather.
Yes, I heard it.
Now, Leela, if you'll just let me explain...
I'm not interested in your explanations, Mr. Gildersleeve. If you had come to me and asked me like a gentleman instead of sneaking in here and trying to take my paint away from me...
He's my painter. I found him first. You took him away from me.
Well, really? I'll leave it to Mr. Giddens.
Well, Mr. Giddens?
I'll pass.
Leela, let's be reasonable. I'm giving a dinner party tomorrow night, and my living room's a mess.
A dinner party? Oh, silly. Why didn't you say so?
Well, I tried.
Oh, I think that's so exciting. I just love dinner parties, and I haven't been to one since my husband died.
Well, you don't understand, Leela. This is a very small party.
Oh, I think they're much more fun when they're small and intimate, don't you?
Well, this isn't even a party, really. It'll be very dull. Just this old college chum of mine coming to town.
Oh.
I thought I wouldn't invite anybody but the family, practically, and maybe a couple of old ducks like Judge Hooker.
Throckmorton, if you're trying to tell me that I'm not included, don't bother. Because I'm not accepting any invitations yet, out of respect for the memory of my late husband.
I think you're right, Leela. Beauregard was a fine man.
But as for the painter, if you think I'm going to let him leave here before he's finished these stains...
But, Leela, it's a dinner party.
I may just possibly be giving a dinner party myself, Throckmorton. And it won't be for any old ducks either.
That's telling him, lady.
See here, Giddens.
We'll be back with the great Gildersleeve in just a moment. But now it's intermission time, and that brings the music of the old professor, Kay Kaiser. Come on, children, let's dance.
What's the good word, Mr. Bluebird?
There's Julie, there's Diane, Jack, Max, and Harry.
What's the good word, Mr. Bluebird? Did you bring a song to cheer me up today? Rattle-do-dum-da, give me your word. Tell me, Mr. Bluebird, did you come to tell me everything's okay? I've been blue because there was no letter, and seeing you has made me feel much better. So what's the good word? Tell me, Mr. Bluebird, before you fly far away from me.
Faces looking longingly at Harry Babbitt. Harry, live up to their expectations. Sing, lad. Wrong, would it be wrong to kiss? Seeing I feel like this, would it be wrong to try? So wrong, would it be wrong to stay? Under the starry sky, if it is wrong, then why were you sent to me? Why am I content to be with you forever? So when I need you so much, and I long. It must be right. It can't be wrong.
Get back to the great Gildersleeve and his entertainment problem. It's the morning of his big day, and he's still got quite a few details to straighten out. Some of them have to do with the kitchen, where we find him now in conference with Bertie.
Did Marjorie help you with the hors d'oeuvres?
Oh, yeah. She brought me a recipe she cut out of a magazine. Here's a picture of it.
Well, Technicolor. My, it does look mighty good, Bertie.
They ought to look good. It would take me 3 hours to make a dozen of them, and you could eat them all in one bite.
Well, maybe you can think of something simpler. Some stuffed celery would be nice.
I might have time to stuff a little celery, but I can hardly get anything done till that old painter gets his stuff out the living room.
Yes, I know.
Yes.
Say, Bertie.
Yes, sir?
I'll bet that painter would come over here in 2 minutes if I was to tell him you baked him an apple pie.
Mr. Gildersleeve, once and for all, do you want me to cook for Mr. Brinkerhoff or Mr. Gildy?
Yeah, now, Bertie, the dinner is the first consideration, of course. I just thought if you could sneak a pie into the oven in your spare time.
I declare, Mr. Gildersleeve, you're trying to kill me. You know I got to wash all the good china and clean the silver.
I was only joking, Bertie.
Well, please, Mr. Gildersleeve, go joke with them that's got time for joking, but I ain't. Not today. No, sir. No time for cracking jokes today.
Here, now, take it easy, Bertie. Take it easy. You got me all flustered. I didn't mean to upset you. I'll be good. I'll leave you in peace. If Bertie was to walk out, we'd really be in a mess. Oh, don't you ever have to practice any scales, Leroy?
Oh, sure, but I'm warming up my repertoire for the countess.
You'll not be called on to perform, young man.
I won't. What the heck am I taking lessons for?
But I hope eventually you'll reach the point where you know more than one piece.
Next week, Miss Ruth promised. She's going to give me Dance of the Snow Fairy.
I can hardly wait. I've been meaning to have a few words with you about this evening, young man, and you too, my dear.
Shoot. Okay.
In the first place, you children won't have dinner with us. You'll have to make other arrangements. There'll be just Judge Hooker, the Brinkerhoffs, and myself.
Can I come?
Well, no. The steak doesn't look as big as it did in the store.
Well, what about Miss Goodwin?
I decided not. I'm afraid that might lead to complications of one kind and another.
I think I know what you mean.
No, you don't, Marjorie. That'll be enough from you, Leroy. Before I forget, I want you to wear a stiff collar tonight.
Oh, gee.
Leroy?
A stiff collar and I don't even get any steak?
You won't dine with us, but I want you to be here when they come and greet them courteously.
Okay. Pleased to meet you, Mr. Brinkerhoff. How do you do, Your Excellency?
Well, very good, Leroy. One other thing. Remember always to back out of any room the Countess is in.
What? Holy smoke, what's that for?
Just a little tribute to the nobility. You never turn your back on a king or a duke.
Afraid you'll get a kick in the pants?
This is no laughing matter, Leroy. Now, suppose you were saying good night to the Brinkerhoffs. How would you do it?
Well, good night, Mr. Brinkerhoff. Good night, Your Excellency. Good night.
Look out for those paint buttons! What a place to entertain royalty. Marjorie, have the flowers come?
Well,
what time is it, ye gods? Is that clock right?
Now, calm down.
Leroy, I want you to pick up around here. Pick up that catcher's mitt. Get that machine gun out of the hall.
Okay,
Bertie, you didn't forget the hors d'oeuvres. Oh, the place cards. We haven't made out the place cards.
Uncle Lloyd, for goodness sake, calm down.
Place cards are important. They don't know where to sit.
In a pinch, you could tell them, couldn't you?
We're not running a cafeteria here, my dear. It's a very important dinner, and the Brinkerhoffs are very important people. Did I show you the social note about it in the newspaper?
I showed it to you.
Oh, so you did. Where is it? I've lost it. Oh, I've lost the clipping. Somebody stole it.
Now, take it easy.
I had it right here in my... Oh.
Lucky, I think you ought to go upstairs and lie down for a little while.
I can't. I've got a million things to do, my dear. Million things to do.
You're running around here like a chicken with his head off.
Chicken. Bertie, did the chicken come?
Mr. Gildersleeve, we ain't having chicken. We're having steak. You brought it yourself.
Oh, that's right. We decided against chicken, didn't we?
Marge is right, Unc. You better go lie down.
Mr. Gildersleeve.
Yes, Bertie?
Before anybody lays down.
Yes?
Let's face it. Oh, what we gonna do about the living room?
Oh, that's right, the living room.
I ain't gonna have no time to clean up no messes left by no painters. Not this afternoon. Not with all the cooking I got to do. No, sir, not me.
Well, we can't wait for him any longer, Bertie. There's only one thing to do. You just have to take the bull by the horns. Leroy?
Oh, you want me to take him by the horns?
While you're resting, my boy, all I'm asking is your assistance. Just give me a hand with these things. Put them out on the back porch. You take the step ladder and the buckets, and I'll bring the brushes.
I don't know if Mr. Giddens is going to like it, Unc.
I don't care what Mr. Giddens likes or doesn't like. The place is a mess, and he hasn't been near it for a week.
Yeah, but he doesn't like people touching his tools. He's awful fussy, you know.
Well, I'm fussy about my guests. When I entertain a countess, I don't ask her to sit on a stepladder with her feet in a paint bucket.
Okay.
It's the trouble with painters and people these days. Just because they're hard to get, they think they can get away with anything. They can, too. Oh, somebody at the door. Answer it.
I'll go, Uncle Mort. It's the painter.
Oh, my goodness. Wait a minute. Don't let him in yet, my dear. Leroy, put that ladder back where you got it.
I thought you were going to tell him, Unc.
I'll tell him some other time. Put it back.
Okay. Carry it out. Bring it back.
No. Put it where it was so he won't notice.
I did.
Come on. Turn it this way a little. Yeah, that's better. Now, is everything just the way it was?
There was half a bologna sandwich on top of the stepladder.
Well, put it back.
I can't. I ate it.
How many times have I told you not to put things in your mouth?
Well, I was hungry.
You're always hungry. All right, my dear. Let him in.
No, Mr. Giddens. Come in.
Well, we didn't know if we were ever going to see you again, Mr. Giddens. I wonder if you could move.
Yeah, that's one thing you don't need to worry about, Mr. Gildersleeve. When I start anything, I finish it. I'm not like some people. You have to keep after them all the time.
Good. Well, if you're all through over at Mrs. Ransom's, do you think you could move?
Two for today. There's a little more to do tomorrow. Yes, sir. I'm not like some people. When I start anything, I finish it. Hand me that brush there, Sonny.
Mr. Giddens, you're not going to start painting at 4 o'clock in the afternoon.
I've got to give her another coat. I always give a ceiling 2 coats.
You have to do it now?
Thought you wanted me to finish up here.
Well, I do, but you see, I've got these people coming to dinner, and I thought if we could just move your ladders and buckets and things out onto my back porch, we could sort of straighten up in here.
Just have to bring them in again in the morning.
I know, but just for the evening.
Well, you're paying for it. That's the way you want it.
Thank you.
Yes, that's one thing about me. I don't give people any argument. That's the way they want it. That's the way they want it. Just wish they'd make up their minds, that's all.
Mr. Giddens, you don't mind doing this?
Nope.
You're not mad or anything?
Nope.
Oh, I think it's going to look great when you get it done.
One side, please.
Look a lot better already. Don't you think so?
Open that back door for me, will you, son?
Sure, Mr. Giddens.
Yeah, just wish they'd make up their minds, that's all.
Oh, gosh, now he's mad. What's he got to be mad about? I waited for him a whole week. Now, have we forgotten anything?
No, not a thing, Uncle Mort. I think everything looks very nice.
Oh, I'm as nervous as a schoolgirl.
Just remind Brady to light the candles before you sit down.
Oh, yes. Bertie, candles.
Mm-hmm. Sorry, I have to run along before they get here.
They'll understand.
Hey, why do I have to stick around?
Your sister has a date.
Well, so have I. I'm supposed to be at Piggy's for dinner at 7.
It's only 7 now.
But I gotta change my clothes before I go.
What do you have to change your clothes for? You're all dressed up now.
You don't think I want Piggy to see me looking like this?
What's the matter with the way you look?
I look like a choir boy. Don't worry. You won't fool anybody. Well, nobody would take you for an angel.
Now, wait a minute. What did I tell you two? No fighting. Your sister looks very sweet, Leroy. So do you.
Yeah, sweet. This collar is killing me.
How do you think I feel in this one?
There they are. I'll go.
Leroy, come back here.
What for?
Let Bertie go. Do you want him to think we haven't any servants?
Okay.
Now, sit down. Hold your hands.
What?
Stick in your shirt tape.
I'm coming. Keep your shirt off.
Bertie, that's not what I told you to say.
Is my cap all straight, Mr. Gildersleeve?
Yes, you're looking fine, Bertie.
Thank you, sir. You looking good yourself.
Now, remember what I told you, both of you. Now, remember what you're to say.
Oh, you judge.
Oh, the judge.
Relax, everybody.
Well, I'm on time, I trust.
Right on the dot, Horace, as usual.
Well, I like to be punctual. Good evening, Leroy.
Hi, Judge.
Leroy, what did I tell you?
Oh, good evening, Judge Hooker, and how are you this evening? You see, I told you they'd laugh, Unc.
I'm sorry, Leroy. That was very nicely said. Marjorie, you're not leaving us.
I'm afraid I have to, Judge.
She's going out to dinner. Good night, my dear.
Good night.
Good night, Marjorie.
Have a good time.
Aunt can't I go? Piggy's waiting.
No, sit down. I want one of you to stay here and say how do you do to Mr. and Mrs. Brinkerhoff.
Gee, I don't see why it has to be me.
I'll admit it's an unfortunate choice. But you're going to stay.
Gosh, Marge gets away with everything.
Well, Throckmorton.
Leroy! Leroy!
Yes, Unc?
All right, Leroy, you may go.
Thanks, Unc.
Well, Throckmorton, I suppose you've been looking forward to this evening, haven't you?
Yes, I haven't seen old Brink in 20 years. By George, I can't understand why he's so late.
You're sure this was the night?
Of course this was the night. Oh, that must be them. Sit down, Judge.
What do I have to sit down for?
Stick in your shirt front.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Yes, sir, he's in. It's Mr. Peavy with ice cream.
Oh, come in, Peavy.
I don't want to intrude, Mr. Gildersleeve, but as I was coming up to walk here, the boy gave me this telegram. It's for you.
Well, wonder who it can be from. No postmark on it. I wonder if it could be from Brink.
Why don't you open it and see?
Good idea. Oh.
From Brink?
Yeah, from Brink.
What does he say?
Read it.
Huh. Change plans. Sorry. Regards, Cyrus Brinkerhoff.
Mr. Gildersleeve, about the ice cream. I couldn't get the pistachio. I'm sorry. The best I could do was vanilla.
That's all right, Peavy. Doesn't matter now. Thanks for trying.
Gildy.
Let me alone, Horace.
Gildy, old man, don't take it like this.
I wouldn't mind so much, Judge, only doggone it. I've gone to all this trouble, spent all my ration points. Bertie's done all this cooking. I've offended Leela. I threw out the painter. I got you over here for no reason. They printed that piece in the paper, and, well, doggone it, I think he might have let me know.
Mr. Gildersleeve, may I say something?
Go ahead, Peavy.
Well, I'd just like to say that any man who'd do a thing like that is not a friend. He's an old foof.
Peavy. By George, you're right, though. And I'll tell you a secret, fellas. I never did like that guy from the first day I met him.
I never liked anything I heard about him.
Well, he's done us one favor. He got us all together for a fine steak dinner. Come on, Judge. Come on, Peavy.
Yeah, come on.
Oh, no, gentlemen, I couldn't. Mrs. Peavy is waiting at home for me.
Well, call her up. Tell her you won't be home.
Yeah, tell her you're out for the night.
Sure. Hey, Judge, what do you say we call up some girls? Make it a party.
Leela?
And Miss Goodwin.
Wait, we've got to get somebody for Peavy.
I know. Mrs. Peavy.
The very thing.
Well, no, I wouldn't say that.
The Great Gildersleeve was rebroadcast especially for you men and women in the armed forces of the United Nations by the Special Service Division of the War Department of the United States of America.